Yo, what's up guys? It's me, Shion0014 here, Caleb or whatever how you want to say my name with another video. And we had an interesting conversation a few weeks ago on Twitter about the differences between Final Fantasy XIV and Wizard101. We're going to talk about the free-to-play aspect of these games majority, and at the end of the video I'll talk about the paid options. Hey, what's up guys? I'm on my Final Fantasy XIV now, and I'm going to tell you why you should probably listen to what I'm saying. This is my Final Fantasy XIV character. It's maxed out. It's all done basically with what I want to do with it before the new DLC Endwalker comes out. Now I'm going to show on my video here my Wizard101 characters. I have 2 accounts, and some of them are 140, some of them 130. I've been playing Wiz since 2012, and I'm going to explain one of the reasons why I moved over to Final Fantasy XIV in 2019. That reason, the first reason, was the free-to-play aspect. Before I talk about what is available in the free-to-play for both games, I'm going to explain what the Google description of Wizard101 and Final Fantasy is, so there's a reason why I can compare these games. If you go on Google, Wizard101 is stated to be a massively multiplayer online role-playing game released in 2008 by KingsIsle Entertainment. Now, if you go over to the Final Fantasy XIV Google description, it says Final Fantasy XIV is a massive multiplayer online role-playing game. So they're both massively multiplayer online role-playing games, which means that you can compare these two games. Now I'm going to talk about what is available for free in Wizard101 and what is for free so far that I have come up with in Final Fantasy XIV. So let's start off with Wizard101. Wizard101 has for free about 2 streets of content, Unicorn Way and Triton Avenue. It has pet making, which is energy based. We'll talk about energy in a little bit. Beast Moon, which is a limited time offer, limited time activity. Gardening, which is also energy based. It has PvP. It's free right now, but it used to never be free for ranked. Fishing, again, energy based. And declathons, limited time. And also housing as well. Now, there are some dungeons that pop up once in a while, like the 4 boxes event, but you can only go to the 4 box event in Wizard City. Now, we're going to talk about what's free in Final Fantasy XIV. Now, before I do that, Wizard101, also, you get around level 10 to 15. So we're going to talk about what's for free in Final Fantasy XIV now. So far, when I was counting some stuff, we're going on the consolegameswiki.com and looking at how many quests you can do for free for Final Fantasy XIV. I counted around 382 main scenario quests. Now, this website could be out of date. I do not know. I have not replayed the game from scratch and counted every single quest, but it's about around 300 to 400 quests you could do for free. That's already a million times more than what Wiz offers. It comes also with 59 dungeons, 41 trials, 47 raids. It comes with 13 jobs to level 60, and other activities like Gold Saucer, Blue Mage, etc., etc. As you can already see here, the difference between the 2 games, what's offered for free at the start, is very, very, very different. Also, this is post-editing video here. Yeah, I'm playing Dark Souls in the background, so I just needed a different pace of chase. Anyways, just to let you guys know, for the PvP aspect, for ranked PvP, you have to have a level 20 wizard on your account already in order to do ranked PvP for free, which requires you a lot of time and effort into getting that level for free. So you have to do all the seasonal events every 4 to 5 months. You have to basically spend like a year just to get to level 20 for free to play. So I forgot to add that in the video. I'm adding that in now so you guys know about the PvP part. Now, before I continue on to my next point, I also want to add that with Final Fantasy XIV, you can level up those 13 jobs on one character, all to level 60 for free. Already, That's about 45 levels more than you can get on Wiz for free. Alright, I am back, guys, on my Wiz101 account. My first take, I actually crashed the game of Wiz by accidentally trying to show you guys how to play the dance game and talk about energy, but accidentally opened up the camera at the same time, crashing my game. So, fun fact, Wiz still needs some bugs that they need to patch out. However, I want to talk about the energy system and how bad it is compared to Final Fantasy XIV's free-to-play system. This Twitter user said that basically gardening, fishing, and pet making is all free-to-play activities that has tons of content for free, because you could just do it whenever, right? Wrong. It's based off of energy. What is energy? If you guys ever heard of Genshin Impact or any other type of game, gacha game, basically energy works in a way you spend energy and you have to wait a certain amount of time for it to refill. So for instance, let's go play a dance game real quick and let's just skip the game. So it takes me about 12 energy, you know? We're gonna skip. I have a lot of mega snacks, holy crap. And we're gonna feed it a Shanta pudding, right? Okay, well, he liked the snack, nice. Let's play again. My energy goes down. Okay, let's just keep on playing and waste my energy. Just keep on doing this so I can prove my point. I have 70 left. And I'm out of energy. Well, looks like I'm done with my free-to-play section again. So, as you can see, I now have 10 energy left. And I have to wait 4 minutes, well, this was 10 minutes before my first take, for one of my energy to recharge. Which means it'll take about 1,300 minutes just for this to charge to full. So this isn't free-to-play content. This is just gatekeeping content. This works the same way as you know, Genshin Impact's resin system, where you're gatekept a certain amount of time. You can only do a certain amount of activities with a certain amount of time. Alright, now I'm going to show you guys what happens when I get 1 energy. So it says more in 10 seconds. So let's wait 10 seconds to see what happens. Will it go up by 1 or will I get all of my energy back? Let's find out. And look, I got 1 back. I don't know why I skipped 4 seconds, but as you can see, it takes me 10 minutes to get 1 energy. So it still takes about 1,300 minutes in order to get all my energy back. So as you can see, this is definitely a terrible method in order to get your energy at all. So yeah, Final Fantasy XIV is just more content out of the gate because you don't have to wait a million years to get your energy back to do more pet making. I'm going to show you what you can do for free. I talked about the MSQ, but I'm going to show dungeons and the classes you could play as and all the stuff you can play in Final Fantasy XIV for free today. So I'm on my character now. I'm level 80, but I'm just going to talk about what you could do, okay? So the classes that you can play to level 60: Paladin, Warrior, Dark Knight, White Mage, Scholar, Astrologian, Monk, Dragoon, Ninja, Bard, Machinist, Black Mage, and Summoner. Now, Blue Mage, I do not know if you need Stormblood or not, but if you don't, then you can probably play Blue Mage, but it's a limited job, so it does not matter. You can also play, that's 13 jobs, you can also play all the crafting classes and all the gathering classes to level 60 as well. That's already another 11 jobs you can play as. That's about 24 jobs you can play. Now, granted, the crafting is boring. In my opinion, crafting is boring, but the fact that this game has a crafting system compared to Wiz's non-existent crafting system is ridiculous, okay? Now I'm going to talk about the dungeons and stuff. So I said you could play a lot of dungeons and stuff. You can play all of these dungeons here for free. So this is from Realm Reborn level 1 to 50 for free. Still going down through them. Still a lot. Now we go to Heavensward. You can play all of these dungeons for free. They're about 20 minutes to 30 minutes each. Now you go to now we go to the trials you can do for free. You can do Realm Reborn trials. You can do all of these for free in Wiz, in Final Fantasy, by the way. And then over here. Oh, we're not done though. We have raids, so we can do the Alliance raids. Okay, and then you can also do all the raids of Bahamut right here, and the Savage ones. Now no one will do this legitimately, but you know what I mean. Now you could do the Alliance raids for Heavensward. There's 3 of them, but I haven't done them yet because I'm lazy. But there's all these raids for Heavensward and the Savage version of Heaven's Sword. And you can also do PvP. And you can also do all this gold saucer stuff. So already, as you can tell, there is so much content here for free compared to Wiz already, just from the dungeons and the trials. That doesn't compare to WIZ101's free trial. WIZ101's free trials, you complete 2 streets and then you're done, and then you're gatekept for the rest. This stuff, they don't gatekeep you. Now, I said recently that the crafting system in WIZ101 is non-existent compared to Final Fantasies. Now, that's kind of wrong. WIZ101 does have a crafting system where you can get the endgame gear by crafting it instead of just, farming it. But the crafting system, in my opinion, in WIZ101 is not comparable to this crafting system. And I'm going to really quickly show you what I mean. With the crafting being so diverse and being so labeled out with all the jobs, you can make a lot more stuff for faster gains in Final Fantasy XIV. You can make potions, you can make food, you can make clothing for certain classes. These clothing is different. You can make accessories, earrings, all that stuff, armor, smithing, and woodworking. There's a lot of stuff here that's way more than Wiz. Also, Regalia farming requires you to farm farm mobs and bosses and stuff. In this game, you get them from gathering instead. So you can get them from just going out in the world and hitting a couple trees and hitting a couple rocks and getting all this stuff for free. You can do all this stuff to level 60 for free. Crafting, it's kind of locked behind membership and energy, the majority of it. So that's also a reason why I said the crafting system is not as good as Final Fantasy system. That's just the free-to-play aspect, though. Now, if you're a paid member, the WIZ101 crafting system is pretty good, I think. It needs a little work, but I think it's good for that game, specifically. But for free-to-play members, crafting, don't even think about it. Alright, today I'm talking about the paid options between both games. Where should you put your money? Should you play WIZ101 with your membership, or should you play Final Fantasy XIV? Now I'm going to show the differences between both games, and I'm going to talk about why I think Final Fantasy XIV is slightly better than Wiz, in my opinion. Now, Wiz does have some things which I'll talk about, but I do believe that for your value of your dollar, I believe Final Fantasy XIV has way more than WIZ101 to offer for the value of your dollar. Alright, so first I'm going to talk about the prices of the DLC. Now, WIZ101 does not have yearly or year-and-a-halfly updates to the game that changes the game in a giant way, okay? So let's say WIZ101 released a world, right? And they changed everything about the game, okay? They changed so much stuff, all the classes got changed, everything got changed from the ground up. That would be like an expansion, okay? Final Fantasy XIV has one of these, usually around every 1 to 2 years. They started off with Heaven's Sword, and then Stormblood, and then Shadowbringers, and now they're ending it off of this saga with Endwalker. Now, that does not mean the game is being done with. They have 10 more years of content they're planning on doing, but Endwalker is going to be a giant update to the game coming out in 2 weeks. So the price of this giant DLC that they're adding is $40. Now, what does that usually come with? Well, if you buy the $40 expansion and you have the starter edition, you get Stormblood and Shadowbringers for free as well with that purchase, so you don't have to purchase all the DLC separately for anybody who wants to think about buying and playing this game. Now I'm going to talk about membership prices. Now, membership prices are a little bit different in both games. I took pictures here to show. WIZ101, for one account, you can have 6 characters on one account without paying for like extra potions and stuff or more characters, right? It costs about $10 a month, US dollars, in order to play the game. Memberly, right? Now let's talk about Final Fantasy XIV. With all the content they have for free already, right? If you think about playing this game, the one thing that Final Fantasy does not have over Wiz is the fact that if you become a paid player and you stop paying for the game, you cannot play the game. You cannot log in. So that's why it sucks in my opinion. I believe what they should do, Square Enix should do, is make a way where you can play the game again. If you don't pay, maybe they lock you out of areas and stuff you can't go to. But that will probably require a whole lot of work because, let's face it, Final Fantasy XIV is a giant game. And they would have to spend a lot of time doing something like that. So if you're not thinking about buying the game, then don't. Just stick with the free trial, because with the free trial, you have unlimited time on the free trial. for the membership price for Final Fantasy 14 for 8 characters and 8 worlds, which a world is like a server that you go on. That's different for everybody. It's $12, $12.99, basically $12. And yeah, it's only $2 more than Wiz, and already it's giving way more content. So that's why I think that Final Fantasy 14's price is better in my eyes, because you can do all this stuff. You can make all this classes on one character, and you can have 8 characters if you want for only $12 a month. Now you could add more stuff to it, like you could do the other fee, the standard, where it's like $15. We can have 30 characters, but in my honest opinion, who really needs that? I don't think I do. I'm not gonna make 30 characters. I don't plan on doing it. I only plan on doing my 1 or maybe 2 in the future. And with a cross-world platform coming out for across regions, I don't think it will need to matter. So I do think that Final Fantasy 14 has more value for your dollar than WIZ101, just because of the content inside it as well, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. Alright, so the first thing I wanted to talk about for microtransactions is how WIZ101 and Final Fantasy 14 are different, and why Final Fantasy 14's microtransaction system is better. Now, there's been a discussion in the World of Warcraft community talking about the cat shop in that game and how bad it is, and why it's broken, right? Now, I want to talk about the WIZ101 cat shop, as they would say, and how bad it is, just like World of Warcraft. Now, when you log in the game, they will try to get you to buy anything that they can right away. What does this mean? Well, first off, you see this nice upgrade now button on the top, okay? In Final Fantasy, you don't see like an upgrade button. The only thing that you see that you need to pay to continue is like a little X on the level bar, and that's it, saying that you can't level up anymore. That's all they say. That's all they say. They don't force you to buy the game. They don't force you to do anything, right? Another thing is this button right here, the crown shop. And now we're going to talk about crowns. I'm going to show a picture of how much crowns cost. I don't know all the numbers top of my head because I don't care enough, but they're a lot of money to buy crowns. Now, what do you use crowns for? Okay, well, you can use crowns for a lot of stuff here, and there is so much stuff here you can buy. You could buy mounts, you could buy bundles that are useless and waste your money, you could buy pets that are useless, you can buy gold with crowns for some reason still, you could buy elixirs, you can skip the game for $50. By the way, this is about, oh, because, where is it? I actually can't get it, I don't think, because I'm level 50. Okay, yeah, here it is. It's a level 50 elixir, right? This elixir is about $50, and it's level 50, okay? The max level in this game is 150 now. For $50, you could spend on a boost. You can spend on 2 boosts in Final Fantasy and be almost done with the game in half the amount of money. But we'll talk about that in a second. So, stuff like this. You want more characters? You want to add another character? Pay us like $25 to $30 right there. Oh, you want nice looking gear, dude? Pay us 10,000 crowns to get this nice looking gear, dude. True, you can farm for this stuff. And it's not a big deal, right? You can farm for this. It's not the same look, but the fact is that all this stuff is here, and there's just so much money for useless garbage. It's ridiculous. Now we're going to talk about packs, okay? Packs have turned into a way to suck the life out of everybody. Now, back in the day when 2014, 2015, when Darkmoor was the final area of the game, packs were not needed as much. Now, there was a pack that was out of the time that had the best one in the game at the time, and that's where people started to see the problem with packs. My personal opinion, I'm going to buy a pack to show you guys how you buy a pack and stuff. Whatever you want in there, it's all RNG based. Okay, so if you want, let's say, a wand from this Super Keeper lore pack, or you want, I don't know, like J gear from the Keeper's lore, I can't even sell it because my backpack is full. But anyways, it's all RNG based, so you could spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars of crowns and not get it. It's legitimately playing in like a casino game. You know, you're doing the casino and see if you actually win. Okay. Now, it says down here, 3 times higher chance to receive this pack spells. Now, what does that mean? Well, in recent times, WIZ101 has released a system called Spellements, okay? Now, not all Spellements, obviously, are like this, but most of them are, okay? So, the Spellements in the game most of them are locked behind the packs. Now, in recent times, they have made them droppable by mobs and bosses and stuff. But back in the day, most of these, you want your fire elf to do more damage. You know, you want your fire elf to do more of this. You want your fire elf to do this. You have to go and buy a bunch of packs in order to get that to work. And there's also future crafted spells that are not, I don't even have on this account because I haven't played the game in a while. That the only way to get them are from the packs in the first place, right? So that's a problem. So already you're spending 400 crowns for a pack for a chance of getting a spell element, right? You can spend hundreds of crowns and not get any spell elements whatsoever. So it's a chance, okay? And the problem is they don't show, you know, what the rate is for everything in the packs. Now they do show now in the test realm what's in the pack, I believe, but they don't show the percents, and that's the problem, okay? With any gacha game, including like Genshin Impact, I'm gonna use Genshin Impact a lot by comparison. Their rates are pretty bad, but at least they tell you what the rates are, so you know ahead of time. Oh, maybe I shouldn't purchase this. This game doesn't show you the rates. You can't just like find out what the rates are. Also, another thing, the mounts. They don't. Thank goodness I haven't seen them lock like stat mounts behind this, except for the healing one. But most of the mounts that come with stats, for instance, I don't think I even have any on this character. Okay, I have the clockwork here. They're locked behind bundles, which are $40 like bundles that comes with a mount, like gear, a house, a potion, membership, or crowns, or whatever. Or they're locked behind packs. Okay? And that's the problem. The rock mount, the most popular mount in the game, hands down, in my opinion, it was the most popular, was locked behind a pack. The only way you could get it was from a pack. Now, I do not know, don't quote me on this, if there's any mounts in the game that you can get to drop without spending money, like getting for free. But the problem is, if you're a free-to-play player, you're not playing membership, and you see this, you're screwed. Okay? Like, you're actually screwed. Now, another thing that crowns can do for you is that you could buy all the areas in the game with crowns. Now, this Twitter user said, I believe, quote-unquote, you could just buy all the areas in the game. That means that, theoretically, this game has more content for free than Final Fantasy, because over time you could pay for more content. That's totally incorrect. So first off, I did the math. On the website of WIZ101, you can find out how much all the areas cost in the game. It's around 215,000k crowns, about 215k. That's about $400 worth of crowns, okay? So $400 worth of crowns just to buy the whole game. Now, theoretically, if you play Final Fantasy for a certain amount of time and you pay for monthlies every certain amount of time, obviously the crowns seem like the better option. But that's just a discussion for another day, because the content in Wiz is definitely way less than the content in Final Fantasy, okay? That's why they could charge the $40 expansions in Final Fantasy, because it's worth the $40. But talking about the crown method, for a free-to-play player to do that, they can only do about... So they can do like quizzes every day, daily quests. But the daily quests don't really give you much. They give you like 50 crowns for doing a daily quest every 7 days or something like that. So it's like 150 crowns plus that, 250. It'll take somebody about 3 to 5 years free to play to buy all the areas of the game currently. And that doesn't mean, by the way, they add a world. WIZ101 adds a world every November usually. So that means that you have to wait even more to buy the new zones. Okay, so the fact that this guy is saying that, oh, just wait 3 to 5 years to play the game fully for free, that is better. It's not worth my time. Okay, I could spend that 3 to 5 years in Final Fantasy enjoying my time with the free trial if I wanted to. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about the microtransactions in Final Fantasy XIV. Now, the fun fact about Final Fantasy XIV is that all their microtransactions is totally optional. None of it, 80% of it is basically just for show, just for looks, emotes, stuff like that. Stuff you don't need to complete the game. And there's no gear here. There's nothing that is locked behind the paywall of crowns, right? For instance, there's no, like, Final Fantasy V-Bucks or whatever, okay? Anyways, let's talk about, you know, what is here. So the only things that you can purchase that I would say that kind of stinks, that shouldn't be here, is maybe, like, the Fantasia, where you can change the look of your character. Right here, go to Fantasia. If it wants to load, okay. Yeah, so it costs $10 to change your character, so I can understand why that's a little annoying, but you do get one for free for beating the base game of Realm Reborn anyways, so that's nice of Square Enix to do. But the thing is, all this stuff, like the weapons, tools, and armor, and accessories, and minions, and all this stuff, they don't give any stats. They're all just looks. That's it. Oh, this looks pretty cool. I'll buy that for $3. That's not bad. And the funny thing is that all this gear, right? There's better versions of it. Well, not better versions of it, but there's better looking gear that's in the game anyways. So this is just like if they want to add more stuff to their collection. Now, the only thing that you pay for, if you do want to pay for it, is a boost. Now, this is the part where everyone complains about life, right? They're like, oh, boost shouldn't exist in the game, blah, blah, blah. Now, I kind of agree with you to some extent. Now, I only think that people should boost if they've already completed the game and they're doing an alt character. Now, with the boost, you can skip story, go up to Shadowbringers right here, $25, and then $25 for boost is $50. That's the same price as a level 50 potion. Now, I said before, the two characters here, right, like 2 boosts equal $50, which is true. But if you're a new player and you want to boost to the end game, well, not to the end game, but you still have to do Shadowbringers story all the way to the end, you can pay $50 to do that, and that's just the last DLC. You're already level 70, the max is 80. So that's the thing I'm trying to say. The level 50 potion boosts your wizard up to level 50, and it's $50. You still have level 50 all the way to 150. You still have 100 levels to go. Alright? So that's why this has more value, and that's what I'm trying to say. So if we're talking about money, right? But 90% of all of this is just for show. Like emotes, mounts, you don't have to get these. There's actually cooler mounts in game, like golden mounts, golden birds, golden wolves. You know, there's a lot of cool mounts in the game. You don't even have to get anything here. And the fun fact, in the game, they don't tell you about the Mog Station, which is a double-edged sword. Now, one, it's good, right, that they don't shove the Mog Station down your throat all the time, right? So, that's what I like. They're not like, hey, buy this mount from the Mog Station. Buy this endgame armor set that doesn't exist on the Mog Station. All the gear in the game for Final Fantasy, the best gear in the game, is dropped by you playing the game and doing your hard work of getting it to get the gear. Okay, it's not like Wiz where it's locked behind packs. It's locked behind the crafting system. It's not locked behind any bullshit that you have to spend 20 years to do. Okay, that's my first word of the video. That'll be my last one. But yeah, as you can see, minions, all cosmetic stuff. This does not affect any gameplay whatsoever unless you want to look a certain way, right? So that's my differences between both games. Now, which one do I like the most? Obviously, I'm going to be biased and choose Final Fantasy XIV for these reasons. One, Final Fantasy XIV doesn't charge like crown system, right? Where you have to spend a lottery or a roulette to get a piece of gear that you want. You don't have to do that in this game. Two, all the gear in Final Fantasy XIV that you want is dropped by endgame content. You don't have to go and farm the crown system and already get that good gear. Now, I know in Wiz, the best gear is droppable right now, currently, right? But back in the time where it was 130 and there was no Darkmoor yet, well, not Darkmoor, but no Dragoon gear yet, the best gear was dropped behind packs and dropped behind bundles, okay? That was the only way you can get the best gear for their endgame content in Wiz. Now, we'll talk about endgame in the final part of the video, but I'm not going to go too in-depth into it because, personally, we all know who's the better endgame content here. So that's my differences between both the cash shops, and I believe the Final Fantasy XIV's cash shop is better. Now, do I think cash shops should exist? I think cash shops should only exist if it doesn't give a beneficial benefit to another player in like their endgame content or anything like that, and that's the problem, right? With Wiz, you can become the best PvPer only if you paid money to do it. If you pay extra money to get that gear in packs, then you can be the best PvPer. And that's the problem. When PvP is your endgame, you're destined to fail. And I'll talk about that in a second. Alright, so I'm going to talk quickly about the endgame. Now, I'm only going to go into this a little bit between the both games because mostly this video was talking about why Final Fantasy is better than Wiz101 for the free-to-play content person out there, okay? But I'm going to talk about the endgame real quick because it is important, something I should probably bring up now before people ask me about it later. So, one of the main things about Wiz's problem is that Wiz is making their PvP more like their endgame than anything else. After you're done with all the worlds, what are you supposed to do with your characters? get gear, but what am I supposed to do with that gear? There's nothing to do with your gear at that point other than PvP. So that's where people go, and that's what people assume is their end game. That's the problem. And also another thing, since PvP in that game and PvE are linked together, they've been changing everything, and the PvP side have been ruining PvE at the same time. Now, Final Fantasy does this differently. If you do, the PvP in Final Fantasy is okay. I don't really play it, but at least it's a separate sandbox. And that's something I want to talk about. Why didn't Wiz do a separate sandbox? Okay? They did not do a separate sandbox at all. They decided, hey, you know, we're not going to do a separate sandbox. We're going to keep PvE and PvP linked so it's easier for players to understand. Well, you also have to understand, in my opinion, that's actually wrong. Why is that wrong? Because if you want to balance a certain thing a certain way, you're going to ruin the balance for another thing in that way. And that's why PvE has become unfun and boring in Wiz, and PvP has just been a bunch of toxic cesspool idiots. Now, yes, they're not all toxic, they're not all annoying, but most of the people I played PvP against have been rude or racist or anything like that in that community, and it's been a problem with Wiz for years, okay? Just because they're all edgy and stuff, so I understand, right? So the endgame in Final Fantasy is sort of, it's a lot different, okay? I don't know why I just told by accident, but the game has an eye level system for gear, so you can get better gear through certain activities and stuff like that. One of the main ways to do it is by doing these high-end raids. So, for instance, all these high-end raids here. Those high-end raids drop tombstones, or like pieces of gear that you need, in order to get the end game gear. Alright, so I need to go over here to Yad Yal over here. And let's talk to him, and let's talk to my magic class. As you can see, he has the best gear. How do I get this gear? By doing the endgame raids. You see what I'm trying to say? Wiz101 doesn't have endgame raids, quote unquote. They have Dragoon gear, Dragoon area, but those are not raids. Those are just boss battles. Now, the new world and the 8-player battle is awesome. I definitely want to see some stuff done more in PvE that's more unique, right? But if somebody comes up to you and says, oh, Wiz101 has the best rage. Yeah, dude. You're full of it. You're full of it, man. I'm just saying, personally, I like this game's system better for endgame content, because guess what? Once you're done with the character, once you're done with the class, and you got all the gear you want, oh, what do? Hey, you know, I'll play a warrior today. Why not? Maybe I'll get some new 535 gear for my warrior. Oh, I'm done with my warrior already? You know what? Maybe I'll hop on a crafting class and level up a crafting class. Okay? Oh, I'm done with that. Maybe I'll level up a gathering class. So you see where I'm trying to say? There's a lot of stuff you can do in this game that's endgame content compared to Wiz. Now, I just want to say thank you guys for watching this video. I can't explain any more. I think this video has gone on long enough. I do appreciate all my people who subbed and watched the video. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, leave a comment in the video. Share this with people if you want. If someone talks about the differences between Wiz and Final Fantasy. And before I end the video, remember that you can compare these two games because they both label themselves as the same type of genre. So you're able to label these guys and compare them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time.